Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monday, November 17th, meeting of the City of Worcester Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Jordan Burke-Powers, and I will chair tonight's meeting. This meeting of the Worcester Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted in a hybrid manner with both in-person and remote participation. As a preliminary matter to tonight's meeting, I'd like to confirm board members and staff who are present. Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Board Member Bromoff?
Here.
Board Member Campanello?
Here.
Board Member Cortez?
Here.
Board Member Bardhagen?
Here.
Board Member Torcono? He'll let us know when he's here. And Board Member Sacco?
Hear me? Here.
Great, we hear you. Perfect. And then for staff, Michelle?
Hey, everyone.
David?
Here, present.
Amy Beth?
And present.
All right. Before we start, a few housekeeping notes. Tonight's meeting is being live streamed from the City of Worcester website, and the recording will be available for rebroadcast. This is a public meeting, which means both that it is being recorded and that minutes will be taken and published at a later date. The public may participate remotely by calling 1-669-254-5252. Again, that number is 1-669-254-5252. And the access code is 160-456-4634 #. Again, the access code is 160-456-4634 #, or using the link shown on the screen. Once an item is called, there will be a brief presentation of the item, followed by additional comments and clarifications from members of the city staff, then an opportunity from anyone from the public to speak on that item before we proceed to board discussion and action. To manage remote participation during our hybrid meetings and prevent disruptions, all participants are automatically blocked from unmuting themselves, turning on their video, or sending chat messages. For remote participants who would like to comment on an item, we ask that you use the raise your hand feature in Zoom during the discussion on that item. If you are joined by phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. Again, if you are joined by phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. Staff will then call on members of the public one at a time and give them permission to unmute themselves. If you are joined by phone, you will then be able to unmute yourselves by pressing *6. Again, that's *6 to unmute if you're joining by phone. Please note the board appreciates brevity in your comments. That's both online and in person. To help with the process, we ask the speakers participating in person to use your microphone to speak, to please clearly identify yourselves each time you speak. And the first time you speak, please state your city of town of residence for the record. To help maintain an orderly meeting, please address all comments and questions through the chair, that's me, rather than directly to any of the other speakers or applicants. Applicants should be aware that approvals are generally conditional. Decisions are typically signed by the board at the next meeting and filled with the city clerk the following day, beginning the appeal period. It is the applicant's responsibility to address any conditions of approval, and lack of doing so may result in delays or enforcement. Please contact the Planning Division for any questions. Any party aggrieved by a decision of the board has the right of appeal under Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 17. There are a number of items on our agenda being continued or postponed tonight, which I will read through shortly. If you are here for one of those items, please note that no additional notice will be sent to you before the next meeting. The best thing to do is to call the Planning Division the day prior to our next meeting to confirm if the item will be heard or postponed that night, as it is not uncommon for items to be postponed multiple times before they are heard by this board. I suggest, for the purposes of streamlining our board meeting, that Board Member Campanello or Board Member Bardhagen offer to make any motions, and that Board Member Cortez second any such motions. In an event either member prefers not to do so, I simply ask that you identify another member to do so. There are several items for continuance and then and postponements. I'll take those and then we'll deal with the leave to withdraw separately as its own item. So for continuance, number 117 Montclair Drive, there's a request to continue the public hearing to December 8th, 2025, and extend the constructive deadline to December 30th, 2025. And we have 3 postponements. Postponements for item number 6, 17274 Shrewsbury Street, request to postpone the public hearing to December 8th, 2025, and extend the constructive deadline to December 30th, 2025. Item number 8, 26 Milton Street. Item number 9, 28 Milton Street, both request to postpone the public hearing to December 8th, 2025, and extend the constructive deadline to December 30th, 2025. Is there a motion on these continuances and postponements?
I'd like to make a motion for continuance of item number 1, 17 Montclair Drive, postponements of item 6, 172, 174 Shrewsbury Street, item 8, 26 Milton Street, item 9, 28 Milton Street, all with a public hearing to December 8th, 2025, and constructive grant deadline to December 30th, 2025.
Is there a second on the motion?
So move.
On the motion, Board Member Bromoff?
Yes.
Board Member Campanello? Oh, no, sorry, thank you. Board Member Cortez?
Yes.
Is Board Member Torcona there? Okay, Board Member Barnhagen?
Yes.
Board Member Sacco?
Yes.
And my vote's yes. Okay, if you are here for 17 Montclair Drive, 172, 174 Shrewsbury Street, 26 Milton Street, or 28 Milton Street, please talk to the planning division to find out when those will be heard. Okay, we have one request, I'm guessing leave to withdraw without prejudice. So item number 5 is 264 Shrewsbury Street. There's a request to leave without prejudice. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to withdraw item number 5, 264 Shrewsbury Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the motion to withdraw, Board Member Bromoff,
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello,
Yes.
Board Member Cortez?
Yes.
Is Board Member Barton? I'm sorry, Board Member Torcono? No. Board Member Sacco?
Yes.
My vote's yes. All right. So 264 Shrewsbury Street has been withdrawn. If you are here for that, that means that they are not, whatever they are doing, they are not planning to come before the zoning board to make it happen. And so if you have any questions about 264 Shrewsbury Street, please contact the planning division for any follow-up. All right. We are on to actual business. If the applicant for 304 Lavelle Street could come forward, number 2, and talk about the updates. Go ahead, just state your name and city for the record.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Attorney Justin Rafelson on behalf of the applicant.
Philip Massad, LP Realty from Holden.
Okay, go ahead.
So this was continued from about a month and a half ago, I think. And there have been several changes that the board has requested since that last date. There were a few issues that were raised about stormwater runoff. We've provided a report for the board to review. That's one of the issues that has been taken care of. There is also an issue with parking. We have provided an updated plan on the parking that the board will consider as well. The other issues that the board raised had to do with the shingle and color variations on the architectural plans, and we made some modifications on that. That was something that the board had discussed. And there was also discussion about the landscaping, and we have 6 trees that we're going to be planting, which exceeds the number of existing trees that are going to be removed. And I guess ultimately, one of the issues that the neighbors had was in terms of the scale of the project, that some of the people on the board had mentioned the viability of a 3-family versus a 4-family. And in reconfiguring this design, we've taken into account some of the issues the neighbors have raised, namely some stormwater drainage issues. And in reviewing the documents with our architect, given the scale of this project, the fact that unfortunately the financial viability of it would essentially not be there if this was a 3-family project. I don't know if any of the board members here have read the article, but the New York Times just did a piece on Massachusetts housing, and essentially the UMass Donahue Institute estimates that the state will face a shortfall of 222,000 homes by 2036. So, the inclusion of more units here, while it might be worrisome to the neighborhood, there is an issue of ongoing housing shortages that will continue to be a pervasive problem in the state. And it would be a shame that this project was not allowed by the board on the basis of an extra unit. Mr. Massad, if you could elaborate a little more on the plan.
So we updated the front of the building to fit more with the neighborhood. It has the same roof line as the majority of the rest of the neighborhood. 2 families, single families, all alike. Even the 3 families, including the one on the existing lot, have a very similar look. We moved the 2 parking spaces. They were in the front yard. We relocated them in the back. So we maintained 2 spaces per unit. We met the stormwater to full compliance. And we did plant the 6 new trees for the ones coming down. I mean, I think it fits. I mean, the full-size parking spaces, legal-size parking spaces, the drainage works. There's, I think it works. I hope you feel the same way.
City staff.
Through the chair, this is Michelle Smith in the city's planning division. As was stated by the applicant's attorney, there were sort of 3 issues from the board's previous meeting and the discussion that you all had back in September. Architectural designs, we just talked a little bit about the adjustments that were made there, but essentially they've included a new portico entry around the main door on the first floor elevation here. This particular plan does not reflect it, but the rendered version does. They're also proposing shutters on the front elevation. I want to confirm because there is a discrepancy between the elevation and the rendering. We believe the shutters are proposed.
I don't know why that's like that, but
So
yes.
we would just offer a friendly amendment for the conditions of approval to add 1H to reflect use of shutters on the front elevation, which I can call out again, but just for clarity's sake, because I know architecture was a big portion of the discussion that the board had, should the board move to a vote. Additionally, comments were about landscaping, so we had some questions about trees. We still have some questions about trees, but essentially they've confirmed that all of the mature vegetation on the property will be removed to facilitate the new improvements to the site. So they are proposing 6 trees. I will note that it looks like we inadvertently missed that either one of the trees needs to be shifted or an additional tree would need to be added to be between the first parking space, basically in line with the proposed structure between there and Level Street. So we would need 1 tree in that location. So we can add that by modifying condition 1A or adding an additional condition to reflect that 1 tree be reflected between the southwesternmost parking stall and Level Street. I think another tree would probably be fine. I'll defer to the applicant, but I see them nodding their head. So we just recommend an additional tree. We always like more trees. And that will take care of the concern that we have there. But they may want to just clarify how many trees are on the site if they know. Obviously, they're existing mature trees. What's proposed will eventually grow into hopefully mature trees, but that is another point. So I'll just ask if they can clarify that.
Are you asking how many will be taken down? There's 2 mature trees, and there's a small cluster of trees that are smaller that are in the front of the lot, but 2 mature ones.
Okay, thank you. And then the final concern that the board had raised was some discussion related to density. So you'll recall that in the previous iteration, there was parking proposed basically as an extension of where you see the parking now between the last parking stall and Level Street, so in that area where Amy Beth's cursor is circling. So they have shifted those stalls back behind the other existing three-decker, and so they have moved those out of that location. Our concern was about the parking and its proximity to the street and kind of that being the focal point. So that concern's been addressed. As part of that discussion, I think there were some suggestions that perhaps the scale should be reduced. The applicant is providing the requisite number of spaces just in this alternate configuration. So getting back to what the applicant is ultimately in front of the zoning board for. So they're seeking a variety of different components of relief. Essentially, the existing structure is requesting now just 2 parking spaces of relief from the 6-space minimum. 4 of those stalls are going to serve the adjacent lot on, which I believe is Lot 2, the proposed lot to the south. So they're also looking for parking relief there, so that's 8 parking stalls from the minimum requirement on Lot 2, again, because most of that parking is being provided, right, just on the adjacent lot. So overall, really, we're talking about a reduction of 2 parking spaces from the requirement. In terms of the variance for Lot 2, since we're talking about Lot 2, there's a relief for the side setback, a 10-foot requirement. They have just over 7 feet on either side. Relief from the frontage requirement, relief from the lot area requirement. All of the percentages and square footage are listed in the staff memo. And then for Lot 1, also a special permit relative to the parking lot, because we have the parking lot that's basically spanning the lot line in order to accommodate the shared use of this parking arrangement between the 2 lots. So happy to go into any of the specifics, but otherwise our recommendations for conditions of approval are on pages 3 and 4 of the staff memo. And I'm happy to provide any refresher if that would be helpful for the board as to the variety of other things for the project. Thanks.
Okay. If you are here for 304 Lavelle Street, please come forward, state your name and city of residence.
Good evening. Francisco Ortiz, 299 Lavelle Street. I'm in front of the proposed location. Like my neighbors were here, he's continued to reject the issue. I mean, he has some adjustment that they made, which is good and well, but still the density of the neighborhood we're packed. He's gonna fix his location with parking spots, but we're having with the people that come and visit you. Same thing with the rest of the neighborhood. Again, it's his project is all well, but it's just the wrong location, and I suggest you guys deny him, and he can always make a 1 or 2 family like there is there, rather than packing 4 families into a small location. I saw the parking design, and he put something in the middle, but it makes no sense because the parking size, it's not gonna work. It's gonna create a hazard, and it's, like you guys already know, is the traffic is heavy there, and parking is very difficult. And not to mention, imagine 14 cars if they park in there on all the time, so health issues with the elderly neighbors around. For that reason, I ask that you guys don't adopt his request. Thank you.
Okay. You don't have to speak, but if you do want to speak, you just have to speak into the microphone.
No, not really. I mean, we talked about it.
Just say,
Mimi Sun, 303 Level Street. I mean, I live right across from 304 Level Street. Everybody know, we talked about it the last time, is heavy traffic. Is a shortcut from, Park Ave to cut across Level Street to May Street, June Street, Chandler Street. And there is a lot of 3-deckers on the street already. That was the issue with the parking. Because, I mean, if you have like, each 3-decker would require minimum of 6 parking spaces. That's assuming if it is a 2-bedroom. If it's a 3-bedroom, I assume that there would be an extra parking space that is needed. And, that's just a lot of parking space. I mean, I live on a single house, and so does, Frank and Susan. There's a lot of cars on the streets. Even when I come home, there is cars on the streets for me to turn into my parking lot. And the speed is people speeding down Level Street too, besides that. And I think there were some issues with some gas leak a couple of times. I think it's right across from us, or not my house, but I just found out, I wasn't aware of it, but so I think, I don't know if that would be an issue, if you have put in more units. And I think the units is like, 4, I think it's a lot. 3, we would have, okay, I think, with just 3 unit, but I think 4 unit is like just, like the, what is it, the hare that broke the camel's back, kind of, I don't know, that's a good example to say, but I said my piece. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
In a rare case, I'm just going to make a comment. For the record, Mark Borenstein. I do not currently live in this area, but I grew up in this general vicinity in a 3-family. This area does have a mixture of uses, as the resident noted, that there are 3 families. There is a certain amount of density. I would note for the board, I don't know if this is in the memorandum, but I believe it's pretty close to Chandler Street, which has a bus line. So it's a short walk. I think this is a fairly flat part of Level Street. So that would support, I don't know what the parking situation currently is like on Level Street. Used to ride my bike around there all the time as a kid. Remember lots of multi-families. So I would just assert for the board that it's fairly consistent with the existing neighborhood, albeit 1 additional unit, and it could be served with the bus line nearby, and it seems like they have adequate parking. Thank you.
Is anybody else here is anybody online? Just 1 second. I just want to make sure that we get, if there's anybody else online. Sorry, just 1 second. No one else? Okay, go ahead.
295 Level Street.
Thank you.
I understand he owns the lot, and there's probably going to be something put there, but this looks awfully ambitious for where, I'm right across the street, and parking and traffic is a problem. I know we live in the city, and, 1 unit is not going to end the housing crisis by any stretch, but it just seems like a very ambitious thing. And besides, there's a 3-decker that he owns that already has a ton of parking. There's like a minimum of sometimes like 9 cars over there. And not everybody owns 1 car. A lot of people have 2, some people have 3. And then there's people visiting. Winter, it's going to be a nightmare. I just think it's a very ambitious endeavor for that lot. Thank you. Goodbye.
Did you say, oh, you did. Sorry, you said at the beginning. I apologize. You said where you lived at the beginning. What? You just said, I was going to ask you to say where you lived, but you did say where you lived, so I was correcting myself mid-sentence. Yeah. That was my fault. Okay. Is anybody else online here? Okay. Yes, please, go ahead. Just state your name again.
Thank you. Attorney Justin Rafelson on behalf of the applicant. So just want to go through a few of the issues that were raised. Firstly, there were comments made that this is a packed neighborhood. We're in Worcester, we're in a city, it's a dense place. You could say that about any neighborhood. In order to create more housing for the city, we're going to have to pack houses into dense neighborhoods, and that's just the reality. There's nowhere to build. And this project most certainly fits within the footprint. We've gone to great lengths to make modifications that would enable us to add additional parking and to set it back from the road. There's no guarantees that all those spaces are going to be filled. The current 3-family, my client tells me that there's about 4 to 5 cars there. For the residents' total amount of cars, 4 to 5 cars. So that leaves about 9 or 10 spots for the new place, which is more than 2 cars per unit. As another individual mentioned, this is serviced by a bus line. There's while we don't know right now, there's a decent chance that there may only be a one-car unit, and the bus is right there. Furthermore, multifamily is most certainly in harmony with this neighborhood. And to the comments about building smaller project, perhaps a two-family, as I've mentioned before, unfortunately, builders don't want to build smaller places anymore, and it's very difficult to be able to secure a builder who would even want to undertake a project for a 1 to 2 family these days. And just based on the sheer numbers of putting this together and assuring that it is a viable project, the 4-family is the most logical plan. Finally, I think in terms of the parking woes and the traffic and creating additional issues with traffic, I think the parking issues have been greatly exaggerated. I think the fact that the parking lot is going to be set back so far, it's going to help people not be parking very close to the street, which is going to most certainly aid in the neighborhood traffic flow when you have cars that are going to need to come from the back. So, do you have anything else to say? No. That would be it. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I'll go first, and then we'll hear from the rest of the board. There's 14,000 square feet. There's plenty of space for a 4-family. We definitely need units. So I'm very much in favor of this project. We should have density. I wouldn't want 2 families in 14,000 square feet. That's also a bad use of our space that we do have available for housing. So I think we should have more housing. There is a real issue with it being a cut-through street and there being traffic. As somebody who lives on a cut-through street, I understand that frustration, but that's not the problem of somebody trying to build. That's the problem for the city to actually, people should contact the city. They should be contacting their city councilor to ask for ways to slow down traffic. Our job at the zoning board is not to take care of the overall traffic problems in the city. Our job is to sort of assess these projects accordingly. So I would say also, again, I don't know, 3-deckers don't tend to have people have multiple cars in them. I live in a 3-decker. I have had people in my house as renters who have had more than 2 cars, but that was easily made up by our current residents. We have a whole floor who no one has a car, which is also pretty common, and that's borne out by the data, which is it starts to even itself out to being a little less than 2 cars per person in a 3-decker. Currently, for the people who rent, and including myself and my wife and our household, we have less than 2 cars per household in our 3-decker. There's 6 adults, and there's 4, well, it's technically, I guess, 5 cars. There's 4.5 cars in use currently that needs parking. So I'd say that's what we know from the data. That's actually the lived reality across the city of Worcester, is that most of the time people are going to utilize, and there's plenty of parking in-house, off the street, on this property. Additionally, the applicant is going above what would be required for this to keep water on site. So there's not going to be, it's already a flat part of the city, and they're going to collect all the water in the most, in the best way we know currently how to do that for this parking lot. So again, also, they're going above and beyond on that sense. My concerns were just about the sort of feel of it from the last meeting. I think you really addressed that. Unfortunately, I don't think some of the renderings that were in our files all made it up to this things, but if you see in the files, they actually updated a lot of the renderings from the last meeting, which sort of met some of my concerns about it. So I'm ready to move forward on this. I think this is pretty straightforward. 14,000 square feet should have a bunch of housing in the city. Yeah, go from there. Okay, Board Member Abramoff.
Through you, Mr. Chair. First question I have, just to be sure, is all of the recommendations that the city presented, including adding H for shutters, okay with you?
Yes.
And the waivers, you request those waivers? There's two waivers that you should say yes to.
Yes. Sure.
Okay. The other question I have is, in the existing three-family, how many bedrooms are in there?
There are two on the first 2 floors and 1 on the top floor.
So it's two, and one?
Yes.
So it's 5 bedrooms? And the new building, it's only 2 stories, correct?
2 stories, yes.
Plus the roof. And are those also 2 bedrooms or one?
Two per unit.
2 bedrooms. So got a total of 2, 4, 6, whatever it is, bedrooms, 8, 10, 12, 13 bedrooms, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Given that, it does relieve some of the crowding of it. They could be 3-bedroom units. I've seen some 4-bedroom and some of the bigger 3-deckers in that area on Cortlandt Street and on Mann Street and maybe not on Mann, but Deerfield. And so I don't think I have a problem with it right now. I'd like to hear from everybody else.
To your point, we have 3 in our 3-bedroom, or in our 3-deckers. All 3 of our floors have 3 rooms.
That's more typical for the 3, yeah.
Board Member Capanello.
Through the chair, I've been very much on the line with this application. The variance for square footage relief is great, but in driving past the site multiple times, thinking that a 3-family could go there, this is 1 more unit, and then seeing the changes that you've made with the water runoff and the design, I am agreeable to move forward with this application. And as we amended, the extra tree would then make it 9 additional trees from those 2 old trees that are going to be cut down.
7, I believe, right?
7? It's 7 additional trees, okay. So, in the end, I am in favor of moving this forward.
Thank you. Board Member Cortez.
Through the chair, I'm just pleased to hear that you actually did listen to the public about its concerns and our concerns, and you took it into account to make some changes to the plan. And I realize continuous concerns regarding parking. And, however, as I see it, even though there is one project that involves two units, 2 houses. So each one, if we look at it, each one has the right for a number of parkings there. So if you look at the total project and the compound number of parkings, you may have a concern. But we have to look at it also, 2 separate units. In each one, they need a number of parkings, and they need parking, so you have to have it. It just on that side. Just for purposes of my understanding here, parking is going to be shared between the 2.
Shared driveway, yes. Shared driveway and parking, yes, between the 2.
Shared parking.
Correct.
And that means residents from the 2 units would be parking in one, just in one lot. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that where the 14 parking spaces are?
Correct, yeah.
My question in here is, and I don't see it from here, I just, maybe the typing is too small. So how is actually the resident walking from those 2 units to the parking space? Is there a walking aisle, or is that
Well, right now, we have designed from sidewalk to walkway coming in the front.
What I'm looking for is a safety crossing, that it would be safe for individuals walking to the parking lot.
Okay.
And what do we?
Right now, like I said, we designed it from driveway to sidewalk to the front walkway that leads in, and also from the back entryway too. We'll have a walkway coming in that way. Right, that's a sidewalk, yes. That's currently the design for the other three-family as the lot sits now, same thing.
Well, I'm just looking and you continue to look at the safety way for individuals to just move in, you know,
Okay,
to that and look at it if there is any improvements there to make sure
understood, yep.
that would be, you know, that would be in place. Feel free to, you know, I don't have a specific recommendation for that.
Okay.
But you can always work it out in here on you know, adding it to your plan.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Board Member Tarcona, are you available? Still not available? Okay. Board Member Barthagen.
Through the chair, I'm on the line about this one. Last time, the board, I know I did, I guess I'll speak for myself, I expressed concern that the footprint of this building and the size of it seemed a little bit out of place with the rest of the neighborhood. And I know it's just one unit, but just the architectural designs of the big square building like this. And especially considering the narrowness of the street and how many cars were using that street when I visited it. And I live in that general area, so I drove by there from time to time. And I know that, you know, that's not the zoning board's job, is to control traffic or speed on the roadways, but the fact that it exists there. And so while I appreciate the applicant coming back with other things like the landscaping and the design of the building, I'm still hung up on, you know, nothing's changed from last time to this time about when I expressed my concern last time. I thought, well, 4 is a lot, 3 is probably more ideal. That's what I said last time. And I have no way to verify, you know, the financial viability of this, but, so I guess I'm on the fence, but I might not even be voting on this, I'm not sure, but, okay. So I guess I guess I'll throw it out to the other board members if anyone else still has a concern about just the size of this building, or.
Well, I guess I'll go to Board Member Sacco. You all can think about it and come back around. Board Member Sacco?
Through the chair, similar to the rest of the board, I was more or less on the fence with their first proposal, but I do think they came back with substantial differences, and I am in favor of this one personally.
Yeah, I guess I'll speak for myself, which is that just, you know, it's 3 families often are 3 decks. This is 2 floors. So it's sort of similar size, but spread over, actually smaller because it's less units, but spread over 2 floors. So to me, it's going to be a little bit, it's not going to be totally out of, especially from the front. It's going to look the same as the 3-deckers on the block, and also especially next door, which is actually pretty high 3-decker. Like it's much higher than my 3-decker's tall, and that one's tall. So from my perspective, it sort of looks like and feels like a lot of the density already on the street. And so if the question is like feel, I think they've made some changes to make the feel a little bit. And again, it's actually not reflected on the slideshow, but was reflected in our sort of packets for the feel. If the question is the like street itself, like for me, that is a problem, but not the developer's problem. It's like the city should actually think about that, like what's happening on our streets, that people are cutting through and speeding and all of those things. I certainly have that problem. And normally we get these projects and there's like 1 or 2 spots that aren't on the parking. This has all of it internal parking, so it also does more than most of the things we ask for, which is a lot of the times we're letting developments this go forward without having full parking.
Right, and that is one thing that that I think is an ameliorating effect, that it is taking cars that might otherwise be on the street and moving them off the street, which could, in fact, help. And you're right, it's 8 bedrooms instead of, it could be, 14 or 12, 13 if they were doing 3 bedrooms, but so.
Yeah, I mean, just my 3-decker is 9 rooms, right? So it's 3 per unit. So it's 3, and it's 3 floors. And it's almost the exact same footprint, actually, in size. So so they have fewer, right, so spread out a little bit. That's my perspective. I definitely would love to other folks to have on it. Yeah, but-
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think if they could reduce this to 3 units with 3 bedrooms each, and then we'd end up with 14 bedrooms total instead of 13. So I looked at it. The density of what they're building on the lot is similar to what there is on the rest of the street. And I think the thing that makes it most acceptable to me is they have, by code, not more than what's required for the number of parking spaces, off-street parking spaces. Because that street is tight, to say the least. And I can't imagine what it's like in the winter, or I can, because I've used it, but reluctantly so. So I can support this based on the parking and the similar density on the street.
We gotta vote at some point. All right. Are there other comments from the board at this moment? Okay, I'm gonna ask that, normally how we do it is we sort of, you would go first, then he would go second, you go first since you were here first. So that's normally how we do it. So that's what I was gonna do, but if you feel otherwise, I can, that would be my first question.
Why don't you ask Matt to vote on
All
this?
right. Board Member Sacco, would you like to vote on this? Normally, it would be Board Member Barnhagens, but he's requesting your input if you would like to vote on this item.
Yes, yeah, sure.
Okay. So that will leave 5 of me, Board Member Bromoff, Board Member Campanello, Board Member Cortez, and Board Member Sacco. So I'm going to ask for people to sort of indicate what you're thinking so that we can figure out, we can give the applicant sort of the full information on where we're going. So my vote is going to be yes. Board Member Bromoff.
So is mine.
And then Board Member Campanello.
It will be yes.
All right, and then Board Member Cortez.
Through the chair, allow me to, before I say yes or no, if, similar to the comment I made before, if this was the project would be one full building, for the number of units that you want to have there, that would be totally out of line to be on the neighborhood. But since this is basically not a one complete building, a block there, it's actually two houses there, which blends with the neighborhood rather than a building. I wouldn't approve it if this was just one whole building, not for the neighborhood and that. But since this is, Mr. Chairman, blends more to the neighborhood, my vote would be yes.
Okay. Board Member Sacco?
I would be yes.
Okay. In that case, I will be entertaining a motion to close the hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
So move.
On the motion to close the hearing, Board Member Bromoff.
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello.
Yes.
Board Member Cortez.
Yes.
Board Member Sacco.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Is there a motion on 304 Lavelle Street?
I'd like to make a motion on 304 Lavelle Street for Lot 1, the existing 3-family, for a variance for relief of 2 parking spaces from the 6-space minimum parking requirement for a 3-family dwelling. for a special permit to modify parking dimensional layout and/or landscaping requirements, loading requirements, and/or number of required parking spaces. And on Lot 2, the proposed 4-unit low-rise multifamily, for a variance for relief of 8 parking spaces from the 8 parking space minimum parking requirement for a multifamily dwelling, for variance for relief of 2.48 feet from the 10-foot minimum side yard setback requirement for a multifamily low-rise dwelling in an RL7 zoning district, for variance for relief of 35 feet from the 80-foot minimum frontage requirement for a multifamily low-rise dwelling in an RL7 zoning district, and for a variance for relief of 7,309.9 square feet from the 13,000 square foot minimum lot area requirement for a multifamily low-rise dwelling in an RL7 zoning district, for a special permit to allow a low-rise multifamily dwelling in an RL7 zone, and for a special permit to modify the parking dimensional layout and/or landscaping requirements, loading requirements, and/or the number of required parking spaces. For the recommendations on pages 3 and 4 of 8 of the staff memo, amended to add under 1A to reflect one additional tree planted in the southwestmost parking stall, between the southwestmost parking stall and Lavelle Street, to the addition of 1H to reflect the use of shutters, and for the waivers as requested on pages 4 of 8 of the staff memo.
Is there a second?
I do second the motion as stated.
On the motion, Board Member Abramoff,
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello,
Yes.
Board Member Cortez.
Yes.
Board Member Sacco.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, number 6 Carl Street.
Through the chair, I believe that the applicant is online, and I did just ask him to unmute.
Yes. This is Peter Mastro Giovanni. Hello.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, sorry.
Yep, this is Peter Mastro Giovanni, 6 Carl Street, Worcester.
Great, go ahead.
I'm trying to build a garage here for my own personal use. Just looking to see about a variance, I guess, because it's 21 feet to the peak instead of 15.
Okay. City staff.
Through the chair, this is Amy Beth Leith for the Planning Division. As stated, the applicant intends to construct a detached garage that is 21 feet of height. The applicant applied for and was issued a building permit to begin construction, and once it was determined that the height of the garage was a zoning violation, the building permit was stopped and reclassified as a foundation-only permit. So the foundation of the garage has been poured and is currently on the property. I'm not going to be able to do it. The applicant, So the applicant is applying for relief of 6 feet from the 15 feet maximum height requirement for an accessory structure. Presently, also on the premises is a single-family detached dwelling along with the poured foundation for the garage. Staff's asking the applicant to explain how the construction is planned in relation to Otto Avenue. Otto Avenue is a paper street that runs the length of the applicant's property and is on the official map. And staff have some concern that the extent of construction is happening in the right-of-way. If any changes to grading or surfacing, including tree removal, is proposed or occurs in the Otto Avenue right-of-way, the applicant will need approval from the planning board for an 81G street improvement plan. As part of the conditions of approval, the other items that staff are looking for is on a proposed plan, we're looking for the driveways and access to the proposed garage, where the driveways live currently and where they proposed for access to the garage. We're also asking for the applicant to show the limit of disturbance and demonstrate that access and construction activities on site will not have any impacts on the Otto Avenue right-of-way, and that any trees that are removed should be replaced at a ratio of 1:1. All the trees. And that's it.
All right. If the applicant could just make, sort of per the city staff, if you could just tell us a little bit about where the driveway is going to go for this?
The driveway is still in the exact same spot as the original driveway was.
And where's that? Yeah, it's going from, it looks like it's going onto Carl Street, is that correct?
It is Carl Street, yes, correct, right in my dwelling. It's the original driveway, so there would be no difference in driveway change.
And I forget now, the name of the street is that Otto Ave?
Otto Ave is a right-of-way off of Granite Street. It's a paper road, but you cannot get to my driveway from Otto Ave without coming off Granite Street, getting onto Otto Ave to Spencer to Carl Street.
But just to be clear, the construction is not going to impact Otto Ave at all, is that correct?
Oh, no, not at all, nothing.
Yep. Is there anybody here for 6 Carl Street? If anybody is online, you could press the *9 to raise your hand or use the raise your hand function. Okay, since I don't see anybody rushing the stage, the front podium here, I guess I'll go first and say Worcester is an incredibly weird place. So we have, you would have to, if you took down a tree from a street named Otto Street, Otto Ave, you would need a permit to take a tree out of a street. This is the strangest thing I've ever heard. I love this. Not many streets around the world have forests in them.
Exactly.
Are normally do Otto Avenue have a bunch of trees. I don't know, it's just cracking me up. Okay, so this is straightforward for me. He's already poured it. It came in, he did all the things correctly, asked the city properly. They just missed it in the application. And if you're out there, you can't even barely, it's like in the forest. So it's also out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm happy to move this forward.
Great.
Board Member Bromoff.
Yeah, question to the petitioner. Are all the recommendations from staff okay with you? Have you reviewed those? This is to Mr. Mastro Giovanni.
Oh, yes.
Those are all okay with you? And
Yes.
do you request the 2 waivers that are on this?
Yes.
Yes, that's the right answer. Okay, great. I don't really have any problem with this.
Thank you.
Board Member Capitano.
Through the chair, I have no problem moving this forward. I do have a question for staff, though. Since this isn't an accessory structure, and it seems to be right on the line, there's no side setbacks requirements?
Through the chair, the applicant's surveyed plan does show that there's 12.4 feet between the edge of the accessory structure and the property line, so that does meet the setback requirement. So we're using the surveyed plan as the record,
The guide for relief, okay. And I have no problem moving this forward.
Board Member Cortez.
Through the chair, just a question here to the applicant. What is the main reason why you requested to be higher than the 15-foot minimum?
Well, the reason is I have a couple old vehicles that are pretty high, and I do have a enclosed trailer that I transport these vehicles around with, so it is a little bit taller than a normal garage height. That's what I need the clearance for the trailer to enter the building.
Okay, so it's not that you are planning to have like an attic?
No, there would be no attic space because it's metal trusses and there's no room for height-wise up there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Board Member Barnhagen, although Board Member, you'll be, actually, no, Board Member Barnhagen will be voting on it. Board Member Barnhagen, yeah, go ahead.
Through the chair. I generally don't have any problem with this, especially because the neighbor, the general area where this is situated is relatively forested, and it's not going to be intruding on anyone's sight lines or anyone's property. So, with everything else that's being said, I don't have anything further to add.
Board Member Sacco.
I'll keep it short. I'm not voting this one, but if I were to be voting, I would not have a problem with it.
Okay. Is Board Member Trocono online? Do we know?
I don't think you did that.
Okay. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to close.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
So move.
On the motion to close, Board Member Abramov.
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello.
Yes.
Board Member Cortez.
Yes.
Board Member Barnhagen.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Is there a motion on 6 Carl Street?
I'd like to make a motion for 6 Carl Street for a variance for relief of 6 feet from the 15-foot maximum height requirement for an accessory structure, including the recommendations from staff on page 3 of 5 of the memo and the waivers as requested on page 3 of 5 of the staff memo.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
On the motion, Board Member Abramov.
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello.
Yes.
Board Member Cortez.
Yes.
Board Member Barnhagen.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is number 4, new business, 91 Cambridge Street. If the applicant could please come forward. And voting on this will be Board Member Sacco, although obviously everyone should chime in.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is David Sadowski. I'm the principal of DJ and Associates. Along with me here is the owner and applicant of the gas station on 91 Cambridge Street. And also online is Rafael Hernandez, Acropolis Design. He is the architect for the project. What we'd like to present tonight is we'd like to get some direction from the board because he has an existing kiosk across from the Salvation Army, and he has oversized curb cuts at that location. As it is now, when the trucks come down towards Webster Square is this, I don't know if I can approach with the microphone or not, but.
You can pick up.
All right. Currently, when the gasoline truck comes, it's almost 60 feet in length. It comes down the roadway this way. There's no breakdown lane. There's only two-way traffic here. It's very hard for the vehicle to maneuver in. If the gasoline truck was to pull straight in, he would have to back straight out into the traffic. So what he ends up doing is coming and just getting on and coming down in this motion here and then backing up. It takes almost 15 minutes to get the truck. The truck can only, under Massachusetts law, have a gasoline delivery line so long. You can't have vapors escape. That has to be underneath when you're starting to go into the containment of the tanks underneath. Also, he can't have a 20-foot hose and be able to park somewhere else. It's very hard to maneuver to get in and out. As it's going to be now with the grass strips being requested here, there's going to be very little room for the truck to come in. A video was sent just recently, today, showing how a truck comes in and how it parks, how it backs up. I mean, we got our review at 8:30 this morning for this from staff, and so we sent an email at 5 o'clock tonight to show how the gasoline truck would have to come in and out of the site. Currently, as you can see, though, the site is paved almost all the way around. The building is scheduled to be placed up in this area here. The tanks are in this area here, and the trucks only offload on one side, the right-hand side. So the truck has to sit in this motion to be able to put fuel into the tanks. If the curb cuts are, I mean, we've already shown that we've cut them back somewhat, but the truck now has to leave here, go down to where the Price Chopper closed, turn around in that parking lot, and come back up to go back to its route. There's no way to swing on Cambridge to head back the other way. So it's very hard for this vehicle to maneuver. As it is, again, he is almost going over the curb stone as it is with the opening. We've cut them back 8 feet on both sides to try to talk about the city, talked about circulation. Since the owner has owned this property, he bought it in October of '24, there's never been an accident at this property. Nothing's ever happened because of these curbs. As actually, if you see the video that was sent, it shows how cars have to get out of the way. If there's a car here gassing up at the pump, the delivery truck has got to park on Cambridge and stay there. Then finally, when the attendant or whoever comes out and has all the trucks or the vehicles move, then he can finally enter and come in and able to back up. We also wanted to ask about, we're being told that an EV space has to be provided. Is that a requirement of the city, that an EV space has to go in? There's also this DC current and there's AC current, AC/DC. That was a band before, probably before your times. Anyways, with the AC, it's a trickle. It takes 12 hours to charge maybe 20% of the battery. It's like something you do at home. The DC, nobody will come give him DC unless they have 4 spaces. So if a vehicle was to come to charge for EV, it would be a 12-hour charge. That's why we show it on the side of the building. There's some concerns that the vehicles would be going in and out over a crosswalk, but in actuality, the truck would be there. I mean, the vehicle for charging this space up in here, it would take a 12-hour charge for one vehicle to charge. We provide parking here, here, and over here, which makes the requirement. This would be the additional space for the EV with the unit going in this area here. So as far as foot traffic coming in to go to the building, it would only be once or twice a day, possibly, that the EV would be backing up over that crosswalk. So we thought it was a logical place. Also, with the there's been asked to put a fence along the perimeter of the property, and we indicate that we're going to put that in. That'll be a good thing, because right now with all these 3-deckers, their patios are over the property line. In the summertime, they're out till 2, 3 in the morning, eating, barbecuing, drinking, partying. If the fence line does go up there, it'll help control that, because they're taking their waste and they're throwing it down to the gas station, stuff like that. We welcome putting the fence in, and we'll maintain the fence. 6 feet high would be a good thing. But then in the wintertime, all they do is play music at all hours of the night, too, up in this area. And there was a concern about the walk-up. I know that during COVID, the only way that self-serve gas stations could work was if they had a window where you would drop the money through, and then, you would give the product and the people would gas up. And what the applicant is going to talk about is, there have been physical threats with fist, with a knife, with other things when people come in early in the morning or later at night because there's no other security there. So it only makes sense. What he'd like to do is keep the building locked until 8 a.m. and use the window. Who knows if COVID comes back? And then at night, after a certain hour, since it's dark, to close it again. The Salvation Army is across the street, and this is a notorious area for drugs and use like that down here, and he's trying to make it. He's moved to the city in 2016. He had a place on Main Street till 2021 at 600. He's a half owner at Charlie's Restaurant across the street at number 20, and he's trying to make the gas station work. So now with the Price Chopper closed, people are looking for things like milk or eggs or things like that from the neighborhood. By putting this building in, it's going to supply a demand down in that area where there will be people coming over to get these products. But mostly they'll pull up to the pump and come, and put the money in and get, or they'll use a credit card. That's the way that it's going to work. This building itself here would become a service building for the 4 pumps, parts and things like that, and he'd be able to run. But while he's running it, another state requirement is the windows have to face the cars and the gas pumps, because if there's a problem at the pump and a hose gets loose or something like that, he has to be able to see it. The city's recommending we take and pivot and put the front door and this light come and looking out this way, which won't make sense to the applicant, because then he can't follow the recommendations of the state. It would be against the building code to be able to have a building like that where the person that's running or observing the pumps isn't able to see them. He can't even put a tint on the windows for sunlight. It has to be a clear view. These are some of the concerns he's up against. So, but the truck coming in, we're proposing all landscaping here, but in actuality, if there's a vehicle here, it's going to get run over. This brush is all going to be gone. We're showing it here. Right now, most of the site, there's an existing conditions plan that shows that almost all of this is either concrete or pavement except for this corner up in here. That would be more than made up for with the landscaping strip coming in, matching pavement to pavement. All the stormwater now goes to a double set of catch basins that are located over in here. The whole site drains to them as the existing condition is now. With the tanks in this area and the monitor wells and other stuff and the lines and the ledge, there's really no place to put a recharge or even try to dig up the parking lot to find a place to recharge the aquifer in this area with the stormwater. We had talked to the city, we met with engineering, and we talked about how we could take and we would tie into the water gate here, and we'd be able to take the sewerage which would come, there's going to be a small bathroom for employees here, that would tie into the sewer here on the sidewalk portion so we wouldn't have to open up the busy Cambridge Street. As far as the drainage runoff, that could be taken and brought into the back of the catch basin. That would be from the footing drain and from the roof. That would be clear water going into the catch basins where it ends up anyways. But I want to let the applicant talk on the project. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is Nirav Burad, the owner of 91 Cambridge Street, Gas and Go. So the engineering part, Mr. Dave did very well, which I'm not that practical. But few things like the EV station, they're not going to give me the DC charger, the fast charge, because by the law, they need at least minimum 4 EV parking. So we just ended up having a 1 parking, which is normal, like what you charge car at your home. It's the same thing, which we consider according to the town requirement. The second thing, the cut curbs, which has been this size since the gas station built, and it's more practical because the truck length is 60 feet. And it's tough. I share the video with the administration. If she can able to play, I would, it's more practical and visualize how tough to get that truck in and out. And the few things like serving window. So recently, yesterday morning, the underage kid comes in asking for the tobacco product. My employee asked for the ID, and he's saying it's irrespective. You asking for my ID? I'm from the hood. He ended up threatening him like, I smack you, I stab you. So that's why we offering to have that serving window, because when in the winter time it gets dark, there is a chance people try to do that. I ended up filing the complaint against that kid. So it's under the police investigation. And with having this large curb cuts, we don't have any accident reported so far since I'm owning this property from last 2 years. So that's the few things which I wanted to address. And the lot is by itself rectangular, so there is no way we can take the delivery truck in and reverse. It's easy for them to have the straight up, so they go straight out. Thank you.
Thank you. City staff.
Through the chair, this is Amy Beth Lave. I will do my best to be as brief as I possibly can. The relief that the applicant is applying for is to extend, alter, or change a privileged pre-existing non-conforming use, which is the gas station. It's in the use is privileged pre-existing non-conforming in regards to the following requirements. An automobile refueling station, which is business use number 17, is prohibited in the RG5 zoning district. The planting requirements at the south and west lot lines, the required landscape buffer at the south lot line, the maximum curb cut widths, which is 30, there's a 30-foot limit. Presently on premises is a 40-foot and a 42-foot existing curb cut. The applicant is expanding the use to add a 560 square foot convenience store to the property, which triggers the need for a special permit to modify a privileged pre-existing use. This retail use is ancillary to the gas station operation per the definition of an automobile refueling station in the zoning ordinance. As the applicant has indicated, we did request the plantings, we did request the fence. The applicant has indicated that there will be no outdoor retail component, like anything being sold exterior to the convenience store. The building is proposed to have 2 stories, and the second story will be used for storage and will only be accessed by employees from a rear stair. As the applicant indicated, the requirement is 3 parking spaces per the zoning ordinance, and the applicant is proposing 4 spaces, the EV-ready space, an ADA space, a conventional parking space near the convenience store, and 1 parking space to the west of the fueling canopy. I can go back and show you. I'm sure you remember. Boop, over here. Let's see, where can I skip? The applicant spoke about the exterior window on the north side of the western elevation of the new building for transactions which have historically occurred in the gas station kiosk in the center of the site. The proposed pickup window is now 20 feet from the street, and the retail building, from the property line, and the new retail building is 15 feet, which is proposed closer to the property line than the existing kiosk and pickup window, which is 30 feet from the property line. While the site has a limited area, staff are concerned about the proximity of the proposed site modifications to the abutting residential uses, and the proposed modifications may generate noise more frequently and closer to the residential uses. And we did recommend that the window either be eliminated or relocated to the south of the western elevation, closer to Cambridge Street, or consider changing the location of the main entrance to the building to face Cambridge Street. The applicant states that the door to the convenience store will remain locked from 6 a.m. until 8 a.m. and will be locked from 9 p.m. until closing at 10 p.m. And at times when the door to the convenience store is locked, the pay window will be in operation and the convenience store operations will not occur. And staff did have a condition in our conditions of approval with the business hours and those stipulations. We think the applicant should consider the use of front yard alignment and pull the building closer to Cambridge Street, then it'll be more in line with the residential buildings that are also on Cambridge Street. This will allow for a reduction in the curb cut and relocation of the parking space that's shown in front of the building. And it can be shifted 35 feet to be in line with the other parking spaces immediately west of the proposed building. We already had a conversation about the parking space that will require extensive backing up. Staff is concerned about this design. Staff would like to see exterior bike parking provided for employee and customer use that does not conflict with the proposed parking and dumpsters. Bike parking should be in close proximity to the convenience store. Staff would like to see a dedicated walkway from the street entrance of the building using cement concrete to help distinguish the pedestrian realm from the parking. We talked about the curb cuts and reducing the curb cuts to 30 feet in width or the minimum necessary for a fire apparatus and fueling trucks to maneuver into the site. The applicant did, as the applicant stated, they did propose to close those curb cuts slightly, just not to the maximum extent that we had indicated. Staff recommends that the applicant is reconstructing the sidewalks with cement concrete to clearly define the sidewalk from the driveways. A dumpster is proposed with a solid enclosure. The applicant should address their trash management, as there does not historically appear to have been a dumpster on site. So we'd like the applicant to discuss the proposed pickup operations, as staff notes that the air pump and bike racks appear to prevent rollout of that dumpster. The applicant should discuss any changes in signage that might happen. Staff is also recommending a revised photometric plan be provided for all site lighting, including under the awning light for the convenience store, to ensure adequacy of walkways and areas of potential conflict to prevent new spillover into abutting residential properties. The applicant had indicated to staff that employees park off-site across the street at the Salvation Army parking lot, and an additional parking space is now proposed on the west side of the site. So we're wondering if that parking space could shift to the northwest to limit of parking with the interference of the site circulation, so moving this parking space up to the top of the site if that's possible. And then also, if this parking space is proposed for employee use only. And then also, we also addressed by the applicant was the mitigation for the increase in impervious area. And we're requesting a calculation for that and a stamped stormwater report and checklist. And then staff has many conditions of approval in the staff memo, and we want to make sure that the board talks through any questions that they may have with the applicant and that they can address those in time. So I'm going to defer over to Michelle Smith if she has anything that she wants to add.
Sure. Through the chair, Michelle Smith in the planning division. Amy Beth did a great job going through all the comments. The one thing I would just add is you'll see at the top of the recommendations, we had recommended postponement. Obviously, the hearing's been opened. You've had a discussion. You can see the laundry list of conditions. So I think it's important for the board to give indication about any concerns related to the design comments that staff has raised. As to, if those are things you want to see resolved. We would prefer to see a revised set of plans prior to the board conditioning, just given the amount of these. But ultimately, I think the applicant's hesitation is to proceed, given that they don't necessarily maybe agree with some of the staff comments. So I think that's for the board to have a conversation and the reason they're in front of you this evening. But just to clarify, we would be looking for the item to be continued to allow for resolution of these. That's our preference. Thanks.
Okay, is anyone here for 91 Cambridge Street? Is anybody online? Use the raise your hand function. Okay.
Raphael does have his hand raised. I'm not sure. I can ask him to unmute if he wants to. Oh, he's unmuted.
No, I'm just available for any questions. I'll lower my hand.
Okay, thank you. Okay. My perspective on this is severalfold. One is that while the city does sort of take its time getting back, this proposal is the same as it was 3 weeks ago, so you've definitely had plenty of time to respond to the city staff. From my perspective, a lot of the decisions made in the design of this make absolutely no sense, and this feels like a little bit everywhere. So let me just start with the easier things, and then I'll work my way to the more complicated things. The parking space that's sort of freeloading in the back, that makes no sense to me. I don't know why it's there. There's seemingly perfectly much better places to park than where people will be driving in and out for gas. That literally is just pops out as just like the strangest decision I've seen. So I'll just start with that as that has to move. I'm not going to vote for that to be there. The second, and you can find another place for it. I'm not going to tell you where it goes, but in the circulation of a place where people get gassed makes no sense to me. I would be amenable to not requiring myself, I'll speak just for myself, I'd be amenable to not requiring sort of vegetation in the middle or between the curb cuts, but having a parking space where you have to back out all the way in front of the building, all the way past where people will be driving, to get out to then either, go forward or other thing, that makes no sense to me. No EVs require 12 hours. I don't know where that came from. That's nonsense. It's also EV ready. It doesn't mean you have to have an EV. So that means that it has to be there available. Most people who are going to be there are not going to be EV drivers. They're going to be people looking to park to get some food. So the overwhelming use of that space is not going to be somebody sitting for what it would require to recharge, which is maybe 6 hours, maybe 8 hours, not 12 hours. What's going to be used is people coming in to go to the store, and where it's currently parked, I guess you could do it. I would have some more questions about having people, because the majority of its usage is going to be people trying to access the store. They're going to have to back out from the front of the store, across a place where somebody might drive, keep going past the curb cut to then possibly go forward out to the street. That makes no sense to me. The building moving forward towards the street, not only does it look better, it also moves away from the neighbors, which I understand that you have a problem with them. Somebody else might live there at some point who has family or whatever, and so we would like it to be as far away from them as possible. I also have questions like the city. I would love to understand better what the plan is for the dumpster, because it looks like it's impossible to move out in the current location that it is, so I don't know how it'll be collected, let alone again, if the whole thing moved forward, there'd be more space for it, so that would make more sense to me. I don't have strong feelings about whether or not, I think it's fine to have, I didn't understand, but hearing you talk, I totally get why you want to have, close the building and let somebody pay. That's fine by me. I think what the hours worked out seems fine to me. If you want to limit it even more, that would be fine. I'm amenable to making sure your staff is safe. So that makes sense to me. Yes, I guess I would say, so for me, the issues are, again, I want to make sure that I have seen a truck try to get in and out. I understand it is, I didn't need to see the video beforehand. I've actually been there at this location when a truck had to come in to deliver gas. And it is hard, right? They did just pull up onto the curb and sort of parked and backed in. And so I saw that happen. And so I'm amenable to making changes to the curb cut in such a way to continue to make sure there's access and a flow through the site to allow you to get gas delivered, right? I think makes sense. So if you need to move plantings to make that happen, that I am, again, speaking for myself, I am amenable to that. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I would want to, I think the whole site for me needs to rethink some of these issues, because a lot of things are happening that are sort of off for me. The last thing I'll say is that I don't believe that the city is asking for you to recharge everything. What I think it's asking for is for a plan to understand, okay, you've added impervious, now what? How much more is going to flow off, and what is your plan to mitigate it? If you don't have the soil to recharge, and most likely you're not going to want to recharge in a gas station, I don't think anybody would require that, but what are you trying to do to capture it? Are there going to be drains? Are you going onto the street? What is the plan? And to have somebody with whose expertise on stormwater to look over that's probably days from my Conservation Commission. So those are my sort of overall thoughts, which is just to shorten it up. I have questions about the dumpster location and whether or not it's functional and what the plan is for that. I have questions. I don't like where the current parking spot in the back is. That doesn't make any sense to me. I also have questions about the lighting that's proposed to make sure that it's lit. I have questions about the location of the building itself, why it's there. I have a question about an extra parking space that you don't appear to need, being sort of driving over a place that people would walk. The last thing I'll say is the windows, you would just have windows on two sides. That also makes no sense to me. Moving the thing forward and having windows in the front and windows on the side so you can see the pump is perfectly reasonable. Most gas stations have that. I guess I didn't understand that point either. So those are my thoughts. Board Member Bromoff.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I'm generally in favor of this. I think there's a food desert over there with the closing of the supermarket. And I think that, there's probably big demand. And a lot of people in this area may not have cars or easy access to transportation. So making at least some food available to them, I think, is an important amenity. The practical sense of how your truck, delivery truck gets in and out of here. I once drove a tractor trailer and I needed a lot more than this space to get it in. My driving wasn't so good. But I can see leaving the curve cuts as big as possible. And with a building that I own that's very close to a very busy street, and this is a very busy, narrow street, any plantings on the, even close to the sidewalk are going to get destroyed by plows. It's going to be absolutely destroyed. The amount of salt that they use and other chemicals. So I'm not vested in making sure that you have lots of plantings there. If you put some to the back of the lot or near the building, fine. Might make it a little bit more amenable to the to look nicer. It seems like there's a lot of issues And as far as the EV thing goes, unless you're going to put a fast charging station in here, it doesn't make any sense. What you're talking about is a regular 110 outlet, and well, I have an electric car, and a 110 outlet, I only charge 2 or 3 miles per hour. So it would take, as you said, 24 hours to charge that. You know, putting a 30 amp 220 outlet in, you can get 7 to 10 miles per hour, and that might make more sense. But I don't think the demand here is really high. It would be a nice amenity, but it doesn't seem like you have the extra spaces to dedicate that. That's my personal opinion. And also, just in general, I'd like to see a plan that I can read better than this one, because I can't tell where the parking spaces are. And, I mean, there's so much, it's so busy. It's
one in front of the building by the street, one next to the, one.
So this is one parking spot, this one?
yeah, why don't you take the microphone with you?
Yeah,
Show me the
so
layout.
this is for the handicap parking,
Yeah,
and the space between.
A walkway
the other
or
car.
space
So this is
between?
the regular car parking, and
Yeah.
we show this as a EV.
and then there's one over here to the
Yeah,
left?
that's for the employees only.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for, but, I mean,
And then, of course, there's 4 cars can be at the pumps at any one time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly we have the walk-in customers most of the time because I don't see anybody park more than 10 minutes.
I generally don't have a problem with it. I think I'd like to see you come back with a way to either accept or reject or compromise with the city, and so that we have a, you know, there's a lot of, it seems like there's a lot of areas where you
don't mind.
make sense, but it's part of what they're requesting. Did I make myself clear? Or-
Yeah. I think so.
At least-
I,
at
made
least-
to me.
At least to the chair.
At least to me.
So,
Through the chair, there's 6 pages in this submission, we're only seeing 1. There's other ones that are darker, and the city made me put all of the utility lines on every single sheet of it.
well,
Yeah, we have it in our, we
you
have it in our.
could,
phone.
you could have done another sheet, excuse me, you could have done another sheet that's just a traffic thing too, without all the utility lines. So I'm looking at this, and it's a little hard to tell how the traffic flow is going to go, because there's so many other things to it. But as I said again, I'm generally in favor of this. I think it's needed in the neighborhood, and as a business, I think you need to have some way to succeed, and you've thought through the hours and closing the doors and dealing with rowdy people and misbehaving public, and you can have it.
Can I add a few words, if you don't mind?
Yes, go ahead,
The
please.
major issue is we don't have a restroom right now. So that plan includes the restroom in it. So we used to go Price Chopper. Like my wife and I, we run the gas station. So we have to lock the business, go down there. Now we have a party porter outside just for, but imagine in this freezing weather. So that's again the need. And since the Price Chopper closed, there is no, within a 1 mile, there is no ATM. Nobody serves food or beverages. So having a small cooler, I sell like $100 of chips every day. So you know that the people requesting me to bring more foods, try to accept EBTs, which I can't because I'm too small. I have certain things to add in. So if I have that facility, I would do better. That's my understanding. Just, I'm trying to be more practical. I'm, happy to have follow the all town codes, but not just, not having a serving window, which shocks me, like why? Because, that's make at the dark time, easy transaction. People don't try. And this thing literally happened yesterday. The kids, they don't listen. They just want it, and I ended up calling a police and file against him. So that time, that can save us having that kind of transaction and that involvement. Thank you.
I have a question to the city before we go on. Is the city requiring the space to be, there to be an EV space? Is that the city's request, or is that? Yeah.
That's going to be through the energy code, it'll be a building code
Building code, yep. Okay. Board Member Cortez.
Through the chair, it seems to me that the plan is, the way it's presented, it seems to me that the location of the different parts of the entire service in here are not properly done, are not properly in the right place, like the parking space, like the dumpster, like the charging, electrical charger. So in general, I see that it's not a well planned. So through the, and I guess the engineer who is online, it can help to better plan and present, and so you come back and present, exactly where is reasonably place it for us to have a better sense and give you the vote for it. One question I have, or in addition to that, and it's regarding the retaining wall and the fence. You're proposing to do a chain link. Now, as you mentioned, the neighbors right next to it, and having the summer activities there, and so I would suggest that instead of the chain link, you do like iron rail fence strong on top of the retaining wall. It looks better, better than that. Either that or a solid vinyl fence, either one of those there. In other words, I don't like the chain fence there. Now that is in regarding that fence, and in general, I like to see a plan where it points out and shows the right place for each one of the services.
Through the chair, this isn't even the right plan set. There's been another set that's submitted since then that shows 2 addendum sheets. This one down here in the title block only shows 1. The stamp plans I have show 2. There's been updates. It talks about a 6-foot-high vinyl fence around the whole back of the property. Okay. White vinyl. It shows a fence over in this area. That's the wrong.
We have total 6 different plans for the 6 things.
Okay, great. Yep, I see that. Stockades. Yep. Thank you. Now I got to see my sheet.
We're going to ask for a continuance, obviously, but we wanted to get the board's feeling on some of this stuff.
Thank you. Okay. Is Board Member Turcano available? Okay. Oh, no, sorry. Board Member Campanella, sorry.
Through the chair, I'm in support of your application. I do think that I'm in favor of continuing this to allow you to revise the design and address some of the staff concerns, because there's a disconnect from some of the things that you say are necessary for your business purpose and then some of the recommendations. So just to go through that with staff so that we can address those. You are the expert on your business, so some things like having the window facing the gas pump makes sense, although there might be some things that need to be done facing the street. And so the staff has those recommendations. So, I am in favor and I want this to work out. So giving it more time, I'd be happy to see what you come back with and how we can alleviate some of these issues.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot more sense than what's up there. You can see things a lot more clearly.
My eyes aren't that great, so it helps me to get the bigger version. All right. Board Member Bart Hagan.
Through the chair, I'm going to, just echo everyone else that generally in favor, but obviously some work needs to be done, and I think you know that. Working together with the staff to address some of these issues, because there's a lot of these recommendations are at odds with some of the things you've said, and there just needs to be some time to work this out. I agree with that parking spot on the west side just seems not workable. I'm not sure if staff had recommended you move it closer to the northern property line. I'm not sure if that's workable either, but that's something you should discuss with them. I think the lighting study is needed because you're adding extra light, obviously, with this, the kiosk, the new kiosk, and there's neighbors there. And in that respect, maybe moving the kiosk further away from the neighbors and toward Cambridge Street might make some sense if that's feasible. Again, I don't know whether that's feasible or not, but if it's something that is feasible, that might be something that's worthwhile considering. The access of the trucks, I would defer to the expertise there. The curb cuts seem like it might be a good idea to keep that there. So without limiting it as much as possible without interrupting the truck's ability to get into where it needs to go without causing some serious health or safety concerns, right? Maybe you can explain this, the back property line abutting onto the neighbors, does your property line actually cut across some physical structures that the neighbors have built on your property?
Yes.
Is that going to be a problem when you're building a fence? I mean, have you I guess that's not something that's before the board, but it's something that just struck my attention.
So right now, the neighbors are in my property line. The fence, they just cover my property. So once we have that approval, we're gonna notice them like, hey, this has to be fixed. And I'm taking care of all the fence. I have a very good relationship with the both neighbor. They're both 55 plus, they're both my customer. Just the back apartments, those are renters, so they just keep moving, the new phase, but otherwise we have a very good relationship with the neighbors too. But right now, all properties, just the right-hand side is good. The other two sides they covering my property. So that's how I realized after buying this. So we're gonna notify them and build the new nice fence where no light get affected to them.
Yeah.
We take care of their privacies too.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I'm a lawyer, so the first thing that pops in my mind is adverse possession. Like, you don't want those patios there for very long, as long as, immediately tell them that's the problem. But anyway, I'm not giving legal advice or anything, but that just popped into my head. And I agree with all the little things, like make sure the dumpster can come in and out, the placement of the dumpster. If you move the kiosk away from the neighbors, maybe there's more room for that to happen. All of these things just need to be worked out. But generally in favor. It's an existing gas station, that's not going to change, but adding this kiosk where you can provide some food and beverage to the community that desperately needs it, I think is a good idea, so.
Board Member Sacco.
I like it. I think that I agree with the rest of the board as far as it has to come back to the drawing board and just come up with a better proposal, but I think it's going to be a great project. It just needs some updates.
Just one second. If you want to see this too, sort of clear, and then this is the lighting plan.
That's a lighting plan. It doesn't show light in the front of the building. It shows cascades.
You just turn on the mic if you want to talk. That's my only request. There's one right there. Just press the thing. But it's just just to repeat for the record. We got a proposal which is in the packets, just in the corner of the new ones. This is sheet.
That's addendum, or the sheet 1 of 4 there, and there's addendum sheet 1, there's an addendum sheet 2 now. All the
Addendum,
plans
yep.
were changed and redone, but the
Okay.
one on the screen is not the plan.
Yeah, so
anymore.
just for the record, we did get it in our packets. It's publicly available, but not seen on the screen. There's an addendum with some of the lighting plans as well. Thank you very much. Okay, so I have a question for I have a questions for the board, and then I have a question for the city staff, or a question for the city staff, a question for the board. So to the city staff, is the city requiring the EV space? Is that the requirement for us? Are we requiring it to be DC? How is that intersecting with sort of the lived realities of this project?
Through the chair, I can give a summary of that and I'll ask Deputy Commissioner Horn to correct me if I get that wrong, but the building code basically is dictating what's required there. The requirement is for essentially the outlet to get wired, but nothing has to be plugged into the outlet, if that makes sense. So there
Yes,
has to be a wire, the space has to be wired, but they don't actually have to have it operable. And there are different standards and different percentage thresholds depending on the type of construction and the type of use and the number of parking spaces that are proposed, but it's a percentage of the parking that's proposed for the use, in this case, new construction. Thresholds vary. I'm not going to be able to accurately summarize, but more or less, that's where the requirement is coming from.
That was my understanding as well. Is that,
That's correct. This is new energy code provisions, 2021, that is dictating these EV charging, so.
and they're going to have to do some sort of they're going to have to put a building up, you're going to need some new electricity. So the idea is that while you're putting up the new electricity, you also have to make it available in some way that at some point somebody might be able to put in a charge.
That seems to be the goal, to
Yeah.
provide more electricity throughout and get away from fossil fuel and
Yep.
provide EV charging because we're all buying electric cars, I guess.
Yes, okay. So just to be clear, since you are putting up a new building that will require new electricity, as a part of that, there is requirements to figure out how to, that does not mean that you need a space dedicated to it in this moment. It means that you need to figure out how to put in the electricity, and there's some standards for that. So that was my understanding as well. So my question to the board, since everyone seems to agree that there needs to be some changes, but I want to give some clear guidance to the applicant. I put my opinion about the sort of position of the building. I would love other people amenable to its current location, but maybe rework how to make sure that, because currently the bike racks are blocking the dumpsters. So I guess maybe make some amendments to make clear like how things will flow. Or are people interested in moving the location of the building forward a little bit towards Cambridge Street? What are people's thoughts about that? Just to give some clear guidance to the applicant, as well as sort of yeah, I guess we'll start with that, and then we can figure out, I think, obviously, we all agree that the current parking situation doesn't quite work, to work that out. So Board Member Bromoff, I don't know if you have clarity on that question.
I don't really have any clarity, through you, Chair, on anything at the moment.
Okay,
So,
that's fine. Yeah.
I'd
You're
have to-
open to whatever they propose, it just to fix
I'm
it.
open to whatever they propose, whether, if I understand this correctly, pardon me, I can ask the applicant, there are two curb cuts. One is here and one is somewhere over here. There's no curb cut proposed for over here, so the way to access.
It's right here, the second one, this one.
Right, one here and one here.
Yeah.
So the way to access either this is supposed to be the EV spot?
Yeah.
Or the handicap and the regular spot, is you drive in and go this way, correct?
Yep. And also we have enough space you can move around. If the one car is fueling the gas here,
Yeah.
still there is enough room
Go
to go around. Yeah.
And where's the dumpster?
Dumpster, we have a dumpster, the wheel, the small size.
Yeah, sure.
So we have right here, yeah.
Right here.
We have all separate plans, but this is like general plan, everything in one. But according to the dumpster, light, fencing, retaining wall, we submitted all separate sheets, like sheet 1, 2, 3, like that.
Right, and your fence is going to be back here?
Yes.
On the line.
Right now it's here, so this is my property line.
Sure.
Yeah.
And where is the bike rack, so to speak? Is there a bike rack in front, or?
Just a minute.
I mean, if
Dave,
I would
can
ride
you-
over here on my bicycle, you'd probably have a couple bollards here, the
Yep.
metal poles at the ground. I just ride over there and chain my bike to that. But where do you,
Copy that.
is there a place you wanted to have it?
They're right there, yeah.
Again, through the chair, this is the wrong plan, but they're
This is the
darker.
one we're working
This
with,
is- yeah,
so-
this is- Yeah, it's the wrong revision. Anyways, these are where the bike racks would, two bikes would be here in this area, and you could come in the walkway and go in the building.
It's,
This is a roll-off dumpster that can be pushed.
Yeah, sure, I
you know.
understand.
It's a small,
Yeah, I don't,
small building.
okay, my opinion is I don't care.
No truck gonna back
I
up.
don't really care where the building goes. I mean, that's, put it where you think it's be most advantageous. And if you're facing the pumps, where you talked about having the window there, that makes good sense. And, leaving the curb cuts as they are, to me, is okay.
So it's currently right there's a dumpster, there's the bike racks, and it's sort of like that's the parking. So if there's a car here, it'll go boop.
Right, I don't really have any problem. Find a way to make it work. And other question, do you have employees, or is it just you and your wife?
We do have employees.
1, 2, 3?
It depends. If we on a vacation, then we have two. Otherwise, we just have one employee.
Mostly you're working 7 days a week,
Yes.
6 a.m. to 8, 10 p.m.
Yep.
It's a hard way to make a living. Good for you. I hope this really works. It's a significant investment you're putting in here, and you have to find a way to make it successful, and you have my credit.
Thank you. When I bought this property, it was totally gamble for me. But so far, I'm working hard with my family, and it's going positive way.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Board Member Campanello.
Through the chair, on location of the building, I'm in agreement with Board Member Abramoff. Whatever makes sense, and if you can alleviate other issues by moving the building, then that's great. If it makes more sense to keep it where it is, I'm just happy to see you address some of the other concerns.
Board Member Cortez.
Through the chair. I would be inclining that moving the building towards the front. However, I do have a question because you pointed out at the beginning of your presentation the difficulty of the gas loading tanks coming in. If that building is moving, how the trucks will be coming in. Would you mind sort of showing there if that building would be
so
moving,
right now,
how the loading trucks would be?
Yep. So right now, the truck comes from this end, which is like Route 90, and they get in, they go right here, and they make a reverse to this way, because these round circles, these are the where they can drop the
That's
load.
what the tanks are.
Yep. And so I asked the truck driver, like, can you have a longer hose? But it's a state law, they cannot have a hose longer than 10 feet.
Thank you. Basically, by moving the building towards the front, it would not work for the loading
no,
truck.
it again huddle for the truck.
I see that.
Yeah.
Except it's not going to, it wouldn't, I guess I'd say, how does moving the building affect the truck? Because currently,
So right now, the truck is coming reverse this way, till this end.
you're saying it's reversing all the way back?
Yes.
Okay, I understand
If someone can play the video, you can have a better visualize.
that. Yeah. I guess I didn't think of it coming that far, but I didn't.
It's a 60 feet, so.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the frontage? What's your frontage?
Frontage?
Yeah, what's the frontage on
Truck?
on your lot? How far?
Through the chair, it's 170 feet, I believe.
70?
170.
170, okay.
But it's
That's tight.
it's only 53 feet deep on one side and 70 on the other, so the truck can't fit perpendicular
So
in.
stay parallel here and they go out this way.
Right. Okay, that makes more sense. I got it.
So, through the chair, with that, I would not be favoring moving the building forward. It's difficult, as it is, that the loaded trucks having difficulty, as I see. They right on this point. I'll say, this is one of the smallest gas service around the areas. Most of them full gas stations with everything else. Let's make it the easiest they can for this is small business. I see this as a small businesses coming and do something good for the area, something good for you. I'll say that the less feasible we can make it. I'll be working on it. You work it out, please. You coming back. You work it out. Some of these locations where everything would be fine. Even I'm not I'm not an engineer, but rather than moving the building forward, is there a room and it's acceptable rather to move it towards the back and have all like on the side and in front there? That's my view.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. I think the issue, just to ask this to you, Commissioner, is that the city's also concerned about the proximity to the thing. So the reason they want to move it forward is to get more space for people, again, we don't, what is there now, it might be a family later, and that's too loud. So I think everyone's trying to balance this.
Through the chair, I can try and play the video.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
great.
gonna do my best. I can't promise.
Go ahead.
I said it.
We love a good video.
We do, that's true.
Through the chair, he does have it on his phone. You could share it with everyone too if this doesn't work.
We need, through the chair, we need the
Yeah.
people that are online to be able to see it.
It violates the rules. If you submit it to us, that's also helpful, because then it's available through the system. So, yeah, but.
It actually was 20 minutes. He had to cut down the practice the back. It was actually a 20-minute video, just from the start when he got to the street to wait to pull in till he finally got in place to unload. He cut it back to 1.5 minutes so it could be viewed.
Through the chair, while we're waiting, are you clear on how to go, or do you have questions for the board?
We should make sure, I want to make sure everyone speaks before we ask that question.
Okay.
But make sure, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the truck is approaching from the
Yeah.
roadside.
Looks like he has to deal with the streetlight pole there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I've been here when this happens.
Jeez.
Look at the traffic.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's me. That's the recording. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's the end. Okay. Before we, Board Member Ramos.
There is a
great.
one more. It's approaching in. So if you want to see how they back it up, because the outlet of the tank, so you can have a more visualize. If you can play the next video, please.
I don't know, I think it broke it. Looks like the 1980s HBO thing. Doo-doo-doo-doo. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they need to back up into that spot.
Just to be clear, it looks like they're backing up onto the edge of the concrete there. Does that look right?
Yeah.
Right where they- These guys don't get paid enough.
Okay, so it looks like they could still, so it's not going all the way back.
Yeah. So
But it's not,
I can explain something. So the gas can only be released from this part.
right, to those things.
Yeah. So if they can't go further down because they have a limitation for the hoses. They cannot bring the long hose.
Yes, I think the city is saying is basically, there is some space back towards that fence to move the building forward a little bit, and that's sort of part of the question, is how far back does the truck need to back up to get it even with those things? I think from my perspective, I'll just, I'll let other people speak, because I've spoken a lot.
Sorry, through the chair, the city staff is looking for the building to move more towards Cambridge Street, not
Right.
back towards the fence, more towards Cambridge Street. Yeah, okay. just
Right,
wanted
right,
to
yeah,
say.
but what I was saying is the point is that you don't need to go that farther back to this, to the truck does it, yeah. Board Member Barton-Hagan.
Through the chair. Yeah, I guess we need some clarity on how far the trucks need to back in, because right now you've got that EV space. And if that space is needed for the truck, then obviously it would be impractical to move the kiosk closer to Cambridge Street if that's impinging on what the truck needs as far as backup space. But if not, the video, it's hard to tell because you don't have that perspective from the other side. But I guess just if it doesn't need to back up all the way into that space, and it is possible to move the building forward towards Cambridge Street, that should be something to consider. Everything else being equal, though, like if moving the building towards Cambridge Street actually causes more problems than it solves,
It is.
then obviously keep it where it is, because I don't feel that strongly that I want to move it forward and cause 5 other problems to occur. But, with everything being in mind, with the dumpster, with the EV spot, with the truck needing access, with everything else that we're talking about here, just to keep all of these things in mind and just see, I guess you, as Board Member Campanella said, you're the expert at your business, so just let the staff know, what the most ideal situation is, keeping in mind all of their concerns that they've already raised with you.
Just want to add one thing. According to my suggestion, the building back is more comfortable because driver needs a room. This truck holds 10,000 of gallon gas. So once you break it, still it's moved because of the gas. So if it's empty space, they have a room, to at least if there is any error, they don't hit the building.
Well, if in this plan, there's an EV spot, right? What if someone's parked there?
We have to adjust that parking, which we do technically, because if somebody is fueling gas, we have to stop them. Once the truck comes in, we have to move everything out of the way.
So I guess it's from me, what I'm going to be looking for is how are you going to clearly delineate the walk-up area? So I think the city's desire to have like a clear delineation between walking, like different, if it's different material or something, so that people can clearly see like, oh, I'm backing into, or the truck is saying I'm backing into someplace somebody might walk. So something to delineate that, to make it clearer. I personally would be amenable to just eliminating that space, but keeping it paved or something, but maybe moving this building forward a little to give yourself some space. I'm open to whatever works for you all to make sure it's safe, as you said, but figure out sort of how you're still meeting all the requirements. So that's for me. But I think Board Member Bromoff is right with the question about like, are you clear with the things that we need to change? So I guess I'll summarize. I think rethinking the 4th space is the first one for me. Thinking about the location, clarity on, currently it looks like, even I have seen all the plans, the dumpster is going to hit the bike racks to get out. So I have some questions, so like making sure that works. And then I think we are amenable to getting rid of the sort of vegetation on the sort of middle curb cut, but making sure that whatever you do keep in terms of vegetation is clear, and as much as possible, adding as many trees back as possible. And if you do keep the location of the building where it is, just some answers from us with clarity on exactly how much space the truck needs, why you need all that space for that space, how you're going to utilize it on the day-to-day. I think those are some of the questions we're looking to have answered, with a preference towards those things. But I think universally, the board is open to moving this forward. I don't think anyone was against it, just figuring it out, some of those questions. Does that work for everyone?
Yes, through the chair, if I may comment, if I had any recommendation, and this is up to you guys, I would move the building as far away from the street as possible, make as many parking spaces in front of the building as possible, because parking is always the issue. People want to pull in and get in. And having your employee parking over this corner or in the back corner out of the way, that makes sense to me. So, the EV parking, I don't know if you're going to have a real charging station or if it's for future use or something. It seems like that's a space that You've only got one space, really, a handicap space, one space, and then the EV space, if I see this correctly, plus the one over here. So, to give that up, people are going to park there. They're going to park anywhere they want. That's the way they do. I would make as many spaces as possible in front of the building.
I think the city is trying to not have it go up into the other people's houses. Plus, you have some setbacks and some other issues if you go too far up.
Got to meet the setbacks. Subject to meeting the
Just a
setbacks.
reminder, this is a residential zoning district that has a non-conforming use, which is why it's in front of the board. So the comments were related to trying to protect against the commercial use getting closer to the residential properties, because right now all the function of the gas station happens in the center kiosk below the canopy, which is substantially further away from the residential properties. So the comments were related to that. Urban design, bringing the building up closer to the street, making it easier for someone who's coming on foot to be able to access the site. And then also there are setback issues, and they're right up against the setback in the rear. Plus, that's the area that's kind of providing a little bit of a buffer between the residential uses. So that's where the staff comments came from, just as context.
Makes sense. So somehow or other, make it make sense for everybody. And I'm with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Through the chair.
Yeah, please.
Again, yes, I'm also was kind of commenting, and I did comment to the building moving towards the back, but I hear what the reasoning is to protect the neighbors are, moving it forward, I'd rather keep it where it is, my opinion. The rest of them is the comments that we already said, coming up with a plan where each one of those parts of the business is going to be placed in there. That's to be worked out. I don't have to mention, all the ones that have already been mentioned, what needs to be moved or placed in the right place. So to me, again, to the answer is, I'd rather keep the building in place where it is. So there is no controversies moving it towards the back, no controversies moving to the back. I say leave it where it is.
Through the chair, the dumpster in the back, it's just going to be a roll-off to bring out to the truck. We'll research and find out the smallest one we can possibly get.
Oh, okay.
Because that's a 6-foot pathway back there. Other than that, there's an air pump on the corner of the building, then there's 2 places for bike rack. We think we can maneuver it through there. I don't think a roll-off is more than 3.5 feet if it's just they don't have much trash. It's not like we're going to have a backup truck, come in and take the dumpster and throw it in. This is going to be something you're just going to wheel to the truck, they're going to collect, and then they're going to leave.
Okay, yeah, it looks 6 feet on the design, so I assumed it was one that you had,
We
my neighbor
have a
has.
small
that sits by.
dumpster like this, 3 separate dumpsters.
Yeah, you're going to increase more because you have some foot traffic, but, so just indicate that then on the plan, that's
Right.
clear, yeah.
The 6-foot indicated the concrete pad so that it wouldn't
Right,
get damaged. It's
Yeah.
going to be smaller than that, but
Okay, yeah, just make sure that that's clear, because most people, a lot of the businesses who have the sort of have a building with their have a 6-foot. I mean, my neighbor has a daycare center on her 3-decker, and she has a 6-foot trash thing. So I assumed because the pad was going to be that big, that's going to be that big. If that's not the case, just indicate it so that it's clear for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. In that case, I'll take a motion to postpone this item number 4.
Through the chair, will the applicant be ready to come back to the next meeting
Continue.
on December 8th?
Yes, continue. Thank you.
The one after the 8th is what, the 29th, right?
Right.
Yeah, either the 8th or the 29th, yeah. What's the next meeting? The 8th or the 29th of December. So either December 8th or December 29th.
I'm out of the country on the 8th, so it's going to have to be the 29th.
Okay, December 29th.
Then I'd like.
Continue, not postpone. I made a mistake.
Right. I'd like to make a motion to continue 91 Cambridge Street to the December 29th meeting
With the associated constructive deadline.
with the extended constructive grant deadline of,
It's like January something. It's January 13th.
January 13th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the motion, Board Member Brumbaugh.
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello.
Yes.
Board Member Cortez.
Yes.
Board Member, it's actually Board Member Sacco.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Thank you very much. Okay, we're actually taking out of order. So we're taking 37 Stoneland Road, number 10, and then we'll come back to number 7. Is everybody okay? Do you guys need to through?
What have we got left?
No, we're doing, because Board Member Campanello has to leave, we're doing number 10 next. 37 Stoneland Road.
Good evening. For the record, Mark Bornstein, attorney at the law firm Prince LaBelle here in Worcester, representing the applicant. Before you, we have 3 applications, applications for a variance for frontage and lot area, and also a special permit for extension, alteration, or change of a pre-existing non-conforming structure. The short history of this is Mr. Como purchased this property in 2007 with the understanding that it was a 3-family. It was assessed as a 3-family. And unfortunately, there was a fire next door that resulted in the need to renovate the 3rd floor. When the contractor sought permits to modify the 3rd floor, they learned that this building was pre-existing non-conforming, and then staff also learned that it was previously built as a 2-family. So the relief before you is for those renovations to the 3rd floor. So the footprint's not changing. We're simply trying to renovate the 3rd floor following the fire damage and partially improve the livability of the unit. So happy to answer any questions that the board may have. We'd also respectfully request all of the waivers recommended by staff, and all of staff's conditions of approval are acceptable. Thank you.
All right, city staff.
Through the chair, this is Amy Beth Leith for the Planning Division. As stated, the applicant seeks to reconstruct the pre-existing 3-family detached dwelling with an expansion of the roof line on the 3rd floor, expanding the existing nonconformities in volume. The applicant is not proposing to change the footprint of the existing structure, but the existing structure is nonconforming with respect to the front yard setback and the southeastern side yard setback. So the relief that is requested is for relief of the 10 feet from the 60-foot minimum frontage requirement for a 3-family dwelling in an RG5 zoning district, for relief of 1,942 square feet from the 7,000 square foot minimum lot area requirement for a 3-family dwelling in an RG5 zoning district, and a special permit to extend, alter, change a privileged pre-existing non-conforming structure. The reason why they are, as explained, in 1994, a special permit and variance application to expand the pre-existing use to change from a 2-family dwelling to a 3-family dwelling was denied by the zoning board, and it is unclear how or when this dwelling became a 3-family. There's no record of a determination that the structure was privileged non-conforming, so that's why they're applying for the additional relief. The architecture on the 3rd floor, the expansion is to mirror the architecture on floors 1 and 2. Additionally, no field verified plan has been provided. The board has not waived this requirement for such plans for variances in the past and should carefully consider if there are unique circumstances here that warrant this waiver. Thank you.
Is anybody here for 37 Stoneland Road? Seeing no one rush up. Is anybody online? Raise your hand. Okay. I'm in favor of moving this forward. It's being assessed as a 3-family. It looks like a 3-family from the street. I was actually, I don't know what happened, but clearly it's been functioning as a 3-family for some time. I want to address the question of a field verified plan. I'm comfortable with waiving this only because the footprint itself is not changing and because it's there was fire damage, and so there's a request to sort of do some improvements to make it more livable for a 3rd floor, and the changes to go up a little. So because of the sort of smaller nature of the change, and because the footprint isn't changing, I feel comfortable allowing this waiver, but I do want to say that that everyone should be clear that like the purpose of the field plan is to ensure that the variance is as small as possible. And so I think just by the nature of this, it makes sense, but people should be like open-eyed by that.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just to further that point, we provided a copy of the deed to staff. So the relief that we're seeking with respect to the variance relates to the lot area and the frontage. The deed matches the plan that was submitted as well. So I think in certain instances, just for future reference, right, to the extent that someone provides a similar request, if we were seeking a variance for a front yard setback or side yard setback, we probably would want to have that verified.
Right.
In this instance, the plot plan matches the deed to the property. It also matches the assessor's GIS map. So I think for purposes of field verification, I think the purposes are achieved by the documentation that were submitted, so we would respectfully request those waivers.
Yeah, that's very clarifying, thank you. That's my thoughts. Board Member Bromoff?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have any problem with this or waiving the field, whatever, I'm with it.
Board Member Campanello?
Through the chair, I agree, no problem.
Board Member Cortez?
Through the chair, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
On the, how many rooms or bedrooms are in the third floor right now?
This is two, right? Two.
And by expanding,
There'll still be two.
it was still two?
Yep.
So no changes?
Correct.
Thank you very much. No further questions.
Oh, wait,
Oh.
is we're going from 3 to 2? All right, so correct the record. I thought it was 2, so it's actually 3. Excuse me.
So right now, there are 2 bedrooms.
Correct. It'll be going to 3.
It's going to be 3?
Correct. So it
Okay.
makes it more livable. So, for example, if you have a smaller family, 3 bedrooms obviously would be much more livable than a two-bedroom, of course.
You have parking space, right now you have parking.
There's off-street parking.
So no changes regarding, but right now each floor might have, parking. You have
The parking will stay the same. We're not proposing any changes to the parking.
That was the reason I was asking,
Sure. No, I
because
appreciate
if
that.
there would be more rooms, there would be maybe possibly
Sure.
needing more parking space, but
And I would just note for staff, when we're preparing the decision, I think there might be something in the findings related to the same number of bedrooms, so just make sure that that's consistent. I can't recall, but I thought I had referenced that in the application, so to the extent that we just want to make sure that the record's clear.
Voting on this will be Board Member Barnhagen, but also Board Member Sacco, feel free to chime in. Board Member Barnhagen.
Yeah, I think this is pretty straightforward. I don't have any problem.
Board Member Sacco?
No additional comments.
Okay, in that case, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
so move.
On the motion to close, Board Member Bromoff?
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello?
Yes.
Board Member Cortez?
Yes.
Board Member Barnhagen?
Yes.
My vote's yes. Is there a motion on 37 Stoneland Road?
I'd like to make a motion on 37 Stoneland Road for a variance for relief of 10 feet from the 60-foot minimum frontage requirement for a 3-family dwelling in an RG5 zoning district, for a variance for relief of 1,942 square feet from the 7,000 square foot minimum lot area requirement for a 3-family dwelling in an RG5 zoning district, and for a special permit to extend, alter, or change a privileged pre-existing non-conforming structure. Including the recommendations by staff and the waivers on page 4 of 7 of the staff memo.
Is there a second?
I do second the motion.
On the motion, Board Member Bromoff?
My vote is yes.
Board Member Campanello?
Yes.
Board Member Cortez?
Yes.
Board Member Barnhagen?
Yes.
My vote's yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Next up is 137 Hope Avenue, and for this, because Board Member Campanello is recused, Board Member Sacco, you will be voting, as will Board Member Barnhagen. Thank you very much. All right. Wait, are you guys all right to keep moving forward to finish this off? I see no objections. Yeah, it's the last one, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Us?
You're up.
Okay. My name is Steve Hart. I'm consulting to the applicant, Peter DeGioia, owner of Linvest Properties. He's the prospective builder on the vacant lot on this application. Currently a single lot owned by a single entity that has hired Peter, prospective builder, to file the application for this relief. And I'm helping Peter put that together. I assembled it for the application. And the objective was to create a buildable lot on the right side. This is Hope Ave right here. This is Trowbridge. There you go. And to our good fortune, the planning staff recommended an alternate way to go about it. Originally, we were going to try for relief on that proposed lot, but the suggestion was to put all the dimensional changes to the existing three-family so that now the frontage is on Trowbridge and the only relief required for the existing three-family is 28 feet from what has now become the rear setback, which is here. And what has resulted from that is that the proposed lot for construction has been redrawn as by right for single family. So what the relief will allow is a reconfiguration to create that by right lot. And we're familiar with the stipulations of improving the parking of the existing lot. There you go. To have a 22-foot curb cut and some limited improvements to the 6 parking spaces that are now required for the three-family dwelling. Any questions?
Nope. City staff.
Through the chair, this is Amy Beth Leith for the Planning Division. As stated, the applicant is proposing to divide the property and construct a single-family detached dwelling on the newly created lot. The proposed division of land will use Trowbridge Circuit as the frontage for the existing lot that creates a new nonconformity for the rear yard setback. So the applicant is seeking relief of 28 feet from the 50-foot minimum rear yard setback requirement for an other permitted use, which would be a three-family dwelling in an RS7 zone. So the applicant has provided architectural plans for the proposed single-family house on the new lot, which depict a 2-story, 3-bedroom, single-family dwelling. The survey/proposed site plan shows zoning non-compliant parking, which the applicant spoke to, and staff is requesting that the current curb cut is expanded to 22 feet. So the existing curb cut, as you can see right here, is smaller than the actual impervious paved area. So staff is recommending that the curb cut be expanded to 22 feet, and then any impervious surface between the right-of-way and the property line that's in excess of that 22 feet be removed. So staff feels this would provide parking for 4 vehicles at the existing dwelling, which staff believes is the current non-conforming condition, and we've conditioned the approval with this language also included. We don't believe that the parking area is large enough to accommodate the 6 spaces required for the existing three-family use, and moreover, the layout of the parking area creates the potentials of the parking area as proposed, creates the potential for vehicles to drive over the curb. The only question that staff has for the applicant is to just comment on whether or not they're planning for fencing as is depicted here in the rendering. Thank you.
Excuse me, could you repeat that question?
Just questioning if you're proposing any fencing for the proposed lot, because the current lot, as noted in the survey, has an existing fence that will most likely be removed. So just questioning whether or not you're proposing to replace that fencing.
That's affirmative, yes.
Okay, there's no one here in person. Is anybody online? Yes. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so when B&R Survey Incorporated came to survey the property for the construction project, there were no markers placed, okay? And I'm Michelle, I live next door, I live in Worcester, okay? Did they give a verbal idea of the property line that is alongside my property? Because when the shrubbery and small trees were cleared into piles, they were placed in different areas on that property. And one is located near the garage that I own, and it happens to be partially on my property line. Is this going to continue to be a problem?
Okay.
With the construction?
Yes, thank you very much. So I think the question is about the survey process and ensuring sort of good neighborliness in terms of the actual construction and anything else that sort of takes place on the plots.
Yes.
Affirmative also, yes. The boundaries will be staked. We can do that right now.
They should have been done when they came to survey, correct? Because I didn't get a phone call and nobody knocked on my door, because I would have happily let somebody onto that end of the property. Well, it's not an easy property to get on and to access.
My understanding is you don't have to stake it to do the survey, but if it would be helpful to the neighbor, we would request that you stake it for the sake. And I guess I would say to the person, the neighbor, please do get the number for inspectional services from the city. And if you have any issues during the process, please do use that number to let the city know that there's any problems, like if they are leaving things next door. I know I had that problem once when there's construction next door, and I called the city and they took care of it and having a conversation. So just that would be my recommendation to you after they stake it. If you just make sure you get inspectional services, and if you have any trouble, to make sure you give them a call.
Can I ask a question about the parking spaces that they want to put in on Probert Circuit?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm in view of that in my backyard. And it's a decline, and it would go straight through into my yard if a car were to get, I don't know, something were to happen. They're going to be proper, I don't know what you want to call it, something in the way so the cars don't come out of the parking lot and go through to the yards, just in case, I mean, I could foresee that happening.
We tend to not require that for parking.
Okay, because there is a slight decline. It's not huge, but I mean, the property is not flat. So
Yeah.
it's the way this property is set up. And I would just want to know that, there'd be markings within the parking spaces or some type of barrier, not a huge barrier, but people would know. I'm just thinking far ahead, that's all.
There's going to be fencing on so that'll be the clearest demarcation.
So the fencing will be throughout their property line?
That's correct.
Okay.
And through the chair, the final design detail of that new parking area hasn't been completed yet. And, I'd be perfectly happy to meet with the owner.
Okay, great.
If they'd like to, my information is in the application, so.
Great. I would say make a phone call. It seems like the builder's amenable to working out something with you to make sure that you feel protected.
Right, because I know what that space looks like firsthand, and that's a lot of cars to be putting in there, and I was just wondering if they were going to add additional land down or soil or to make it so that they had more room. That's all.
The short answer is a little bit yes.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Thank you. Is there anybody else online? It doesn't look like it. I think we're seeing everybody. Okay. That was very helpful. So just to clarify for everyone what's happening, they are they're making two, dividing the plots. And the plot with the single family is actually not before us, but to make the single family plot doable, they need the rear yard setback, which is in fact the only thing before us is the tiny rear yard setback for the parking. So that is what's before us, is the rear yard setback for the parking. So the context is helpful for the whole application, but actually before us is the rear yard setback. I'll say just for myself, we have a 3-decker and there's just one aisle. And everybody has to work out with each other when people come in and out. We fit 4 to 5 cars in it. I'm sure what in the realities of it is people will just sort of work out with each other how many cars they can fit in the parking lot, and people do, and there's more space there than there is in my 3-decker where we all just have to talk to each other when we come in and out, which works fine. Like, it's not actually that big of a deal. People just say, hey, I'm planning to park, what do you plan to do? And we just work it out with each other. It's not that difficult. So my suggestion is to just, I think it's fine, make it to 22 feet, put in the number of cars you can. It's already an existing, people figure out how to park currently, so it's not changing the dynamics. And because the single family has its own parking, it's not going to affect it's not going to change the dynamics in any sort of way. So my impulse is to say yes to this. This allows the single family to go up and sort of keeps the existing, which is really what we're voting on. Board Member Bromoff.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I don't really have a problem with this. I think, if I'm correct, I drove by, those parking spaces already exist.
There's some limited.
There's some. You're going to expand it a little bit?
Yes.
And what's the address of the 3-family? Is that 137 Hope?
It is 137.
So if
we'll likely be calling the new dwelling 137A.
Well, the way I look at it, if the front of it is where the address is, the back of it is where that parking is, you've got 56 feet there, and you need 50, why are you looking for relief from the other side?
I am following the recommendation from the planning
Am I
staff.
confounded?
Through the chair.
To get oh, go ahead, yeah.
I was going to say, if they use the frontage as the relief that they receive, they then have to go to the planning board for a frontage subdivision, whereas if they use the rear yard as like they use Trowbridge as the frontage and then seek relief for the rear yard setback, they only need an A&R and they're done with us.
So really what we're doing is writing side yard. I mean, to me, that's the side yard. But you're calling it the rear yard,
Through the chair,
right? Is that right?
It's a technicality, yes. It's the zoning, it's for the zoning compliance.
Okay. Just so I understand it, I'm okay with it.
thank you.
Board Member Cortez.
Through the chair.
Yes, please.
I think this is straightforward to me. I don't see concerning issues for the neighborhood or for the city, or in particular for me to make in favor of the public. It makes sense on the extension of the curb cut entrance to the parking space. Makes sense to me. So for me, it's a go.
Board Member Barnhagen.
Through the chair, just to clarify, the parkings, there's 4 spaces that are going to be created, and the reason why that that's lower than what you would need for a 3-family under the zoning, but it's a current non-conforming, okay, and so it wouldn't change, it would just be, okay, right, all right.
So which is currently not even 4.
Right.
Yep. Board Member Sacco.
No additional comments. Thanks, guys.
All right, in that case, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to close on 137 Hope Avenue.
Is there a second?
So move.
On the motion to close, Board Member Bramhoff.
Yes.
Board Member Cortez.
Yes.
Board Member Barnhagen.
Yes.
Board Member Sacco.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Is there a motion on 137 Hope Avenue?
The waivers.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Do you request the waivers?
Do you request the waivers on page 3 of 5? You definitely want to request the waivers.
Say yes.
Yes.
Great. Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to make a motion for 137 Hope Avenue for a variance for relief from 28 feet from the 50-foot minimum rear yard setback requirement for an other permitted use, three-family dwelling in an RS7 zoning district with the staff recommendations and the waivers as requested by the applicant.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the motion, Board Member Bramhoff.
My vote is yes.
Board Member Cortez.
And my vote is yes.
Board Member Barnhagen.
Yes.
Board Member Sacco.
Yes.
My vote's yes. Thank you very much. Okay, there is no other communications. Just really quickly, the staff is asking me to verify that you all will be available for December 29th meeting. No.
I already let Amy know
Okay.
I will be out of town.
Is anybody else going to be missing so that the staff, Board Member Sacco, are you going to be available on December 29th?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then the other request from the city is to let them know earlier, if possible, if you're able to make the meetings. They've been struggling to get us to verify for them that we'll be there. But other than that, is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, great.